Right now, there's a lot of Xbox fans that are quite ticked off and quite annoyed by the fact that Final Fantasy VII Remake is not coming to Xbox, and because of the fact that they just announced Final Fantasy Remake Part 2, and that's also not coming to Xbox. There's a lot of people talking, and even a petition that's gone up right now, and I wonder if that's going to change in the future in terms of, are they going to bring it to Xbox? Now, the first thing I want to say is I see a lot of people compare this with Microsoft buying Bethesda, and I think there's a difference to be had there. I think the main difference is the fact that Microsoft bought Bethesda, whereas Square is still an independent third-party publisher, so you would think that the games would come to Xbox. On the other hand, there is the situation where if these games were selling tremendously well on Xbox to begin with, they probably would release on Xbox again, right? They've released them in the past, and I don't think they've done very well. So I don't think, I think obviously Sony's paying for it. They're not getting it for free. Sony's 100% paying for this, but I don't think that they're paying a huge sum of money because, let's just be honest, it's probably not taking much to make up for what Xbox fans would have kind of put forward in the first place. So yeah, it is a little bit weird situation that this is happening, but at the same time, it's not as weird as you might think it to be, because I feel like, those type of games, the JRPGs, they're not doing very well on Xbox to begin with. So yeah, I don't understand it, but I want to get into this and give my opinion on it, because I do think that it's a very interesting situation. And obviously starting a petition, what good is that going to do? Listen, I don't know. Like, these petitions seem to be more just about clout a lot of the time than anything. I mean, we saw one, I think, trying to get Kojima to cancel his Xbox game because it felt that he was betraying his fans by putting a game on Xbox. I don't understand it. I don't claim to understand it. It is strange to me the way that people react. Hell, I even react back in the day certain ways, like when Quantum Break was going to PC, I reacted a certain way. We all have these kind of reactions because we're fans, but at the same time, I feel like, when it comes like something like this, I feel like there is a reason for Xbox fans to be a little bit upset, but also it's a little bit different story than what PlayStation fans are kind of making it out to be as well. So I wanted to get into that on this video and specifically give my take on what I think and if we'll ever see these games on Xbox. So I think we should get started, and we should get started right now. Whether you're a Final Fantasy fan or not, I think that's pretty irrelevant to what's going on right now. So if you missed it, Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is called Rebirth, was announced coming to PlayStation 5 in winter of 2023. Final Fantasy VII's 25th anniversary is upon us, and Square Enix hosted a live stream earlier to commemorate the situation. It's a celebration of products and projects that lie within the Final Fantasy VII universe, like the remake of Dirge of Cerberus and Before Crisis. Final Fantasy VII Remake is actually pretty important on that front for two reasons. First off, the original remake is finally making the jump to Steam tomorrow. Or actually, maybe today, as it was an Epic Game Store exclusive up to this point. And secondly, the second part of the remake project was announced today, titled Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. There's also a brand new trailer to go with it, which I'm going to link in the description, and you guys can check it out and let me know what you think. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a direct continuation of the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and with it comes the second part of the retelling of Final Fantasy VII's story at large. There was very little gameplay this time around, though, as this was only a first look trailer. The trailer follows Cloud as he walks through various different areas, and he has Sephiroth trailing him. Throughout, he has a conversation with various other characters as well, mentioning that he feels like he's failed someone, and towards the trailer conclusion, you'll see Cloud and Zack together approaching a large gate. The footage actually concludes at this point, revealing the game's release window. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will be launching in winter of 2023. On Twitter, the official Final Fantasy account also tweeted out the upcoming release, asking players to wait a bit longer for Rebirth to hit store shelves. It says, "We're delighted to present messages from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth," creative director said. As revealed in the broadcast, there are currently 4 Final Fantasy VII projects being developed in parallel. Although each of the 4 titles plays a different role, they are all connected through the high-quality depictions of Final Fantasy VII's world and characters. As someone who was involved with the development of each and every one of the original titles, I deeply understand the vision and thoughts behind each project, and I am actively involved in the development process for the 4 titles. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is being designed so that people can enjoy this game whether they know the original game or not. In fact, new players might even enjoy starting their Final Fantasy VII journey with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Cloud and his friends embark on a new journey in this game, and I believe that the scenes that they witness after leaving Midgar will give players a fresh new experience. Something else on a side note, the title only has a PlayStation 5 platform, so it looks like this is going to be on PlayStation 5 as an exclusive or console exclusive for a while, and again, that has made many Xbox fans very upset, and I can understand that a bit. I think that it's unfortunate when these type of things happen, but I also think, listen, we kind of figured this. Sony is playing hardball with Microsoft right now. They just are. They're very much kind of taking it to Microsoft and making sure that they have content. Like, we don't know what's coming out next year for PlayStation in terms of first party, but they're going to need stuff like this. So Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, as well as if Spider-Man 2 makes launch, would make a pretty fantastic lineup for them, and they need that, right? Like, that's what you've got to do. Like, that's something that Microsoft doesn't do nearly as well. Like, if you know you're not going to be able to have something, you got to have a contingency plan there, and I feel like, obviously Microsoft isn't really doing the best job there with not having any first party lineup this year, and they don't really have anything to take the place of the first party stuff. So yeah, it is a very interesting situation, to say the least, and I understand and sympathize with, Xbox fans. I just want to say that, but I also understand where Sony's coming from. Paying for these types of games and stuff like that makes all the sense in the world, and when we see these things happen and we see these things kind of kick up the way that they have, I think obviously, people are going to maybe be in their feelings a little bit. Again, I think a lot of it comes down to Xbox fans not supporting this stuff in the first place, for the most part. I'm not saying that they never do, but it's quite clear that a lot of them don't really do that. So yeah, it is interesting, to say the least. And I do have no idea. Maybe they'll eventually release it when it's fully complete, which probably wouldn't be a couple years from now. But I do hope that, like I said, we see some things change, and I want to see Xbox fans get the content they want. I just think that it's smart on Sony's part to go ahead and go out there and do these things, what I mean, to get these type of deals anyway. So again, it's one of those things that happens. I wouldn't expect it anytime soon. If you were going to expect it, at least the first part, you probably would have expected it to be announced yesterday, but the fact that it wasn't is pretty telling. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like on it. It helps the video to be seen and the channel to grow. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, Crap Gamer 'em up. Thank you so much. Crap Gamer out.